Well, greetings all. It's Halloween Day 2025 right now. We're about to begin our live at the graveyard storytelling. Conveniently, we are live at the graveyard. A large, beautiful, historical graveyard dating back to the mid-1800s. I planned to be at a friend's Halloween dance party today. The last minute, she was unable to have the party. Tell us. So, Halloween Day, iPhone in hand, 3 brand new short stories we wrote just last night, and here we are. And you're here with us. Storylink Radio has presented several live from stories, live from the haunted mansion, live from an abandoned mine, live from a haunted railroad, and much more. Today is a little different. It's during the day because it's cold after midnight, and Halloween is right now. Also, in the past, I've had a lot of planning equipment and warm beverages and other warm bodies come with me. Today, just me, you, and the iPhone. Full disclosure, signal is kind of sketchy here, so we'll read our little trio of stories live. We'll visit a few nice residents here, and we'll put it all together back in the studio. So you can join us later this evening. On to our first story. We are here in a very special, small section of the graveyard. Listen just for a moment. What do you hear? In a place like this, we expect silence. An old, heavy, settled silence. We hear the wind moving through the trees, the skitter of the dry leaves over flat stones. We hear the distant, muffled sound of the living world, far away. Not too far away, actually. Not physically, but emotionally, in spirit. A long way off still. But this place isn't silent. Not really. It's just listening. Every graveyard has its famous residents, its mayors, its soldiers, its grand families with monuments that scrape the sky. But the true heart of a place like this, it's often found in the quietest, smallest corners. I'm talking about the children's section. It's always the hardest part to see. The stones are small, often worn to nubs by a century of rain. You see carvings of lambs or doves or little shoes. It's a place that holds a different kind of stillness. And in this place, in every place like this, there's a story. And the story I'm going to tell you is about a boy named Thomas. Thomas has been a resident here for a very, very long time. He left the world in 1888, when he was just 7 years old. He was, by all accounts, a quiet boy, but his heart was full of play. And more than anything in the world, Thomas loved his collection of marbles. He had clay ones and Benningtons with their beautiful blue and brown swirls, and of course the Aggies. But his prize, his absolute treasure, was a single, perfect, clear glass marble with little bubbles inside like soda pop. A Puri, he called it. He kept it in his pocket always. The legend, the one the old groundskeeper used to tell, is that the other spirits here, they rest. They're content with the silence. But Thomas was worried he'd be bored. So he still plays his game. People have noticed it for decades. They'll leave a small toy soldier on the grave of a child, only to find it a week later, standing guard on the grand granite base of a general's tomb across the yard. They'll see a bright red silk flower from a new arrangement, and the next morning, that single red flower will be tucked into the moss on a worn, forgotten headstone 2 rows over. A bright polished river stone left on one grave, a thimble on another, a little tin badge. They move. Well, at first people blame the wind. Then they blame the squirrels or the groundskeepers or disrespectful teenagers. But the items are always moved with care. They are placed, not dropped. They are arranged. Thomas, you see, is a collector, but he's also a sharer. He just borrows things. He plays a quiet game of his own, shifting the small tributes, sharing the colorful gifts. He's making sure no one is forgotten. He's making sure the pretty things get seen by everyone. They say you never see him. He's that kind of ghost. He's the sudden silvery sound of a child's giggle that gets mistaken for the wind chimes on someone's porch half a mile away. He's the feeling of a small, cold hand brushing your own, a feeling so faint you think it was just a draft. And sometimes, if you're very, very quiet, you can hear it. A single distinct sound. Clink. Like glass hitting stone. He's checking on his collection. He's playing his game. He's reminding the sleepers here that they're all in the game together. He's moving the pieces on the board. So if you're ever walking in a place like this and you see something that seems out of place, a bright pink ribbon on a somber judge's grave, or a pine cone left on a marble slab, just smile. Know that Thomas has been by. He's just making his rounds, making sure no one is left out. Hang on. Huh. Well, that's odd. Right here, at the base of this stone, there's a marble. A clear glass marble. Huh. Well, it seems Thomas has been listening too. Huh. Happy Halloween, Thomas. Happy Halloween. We've shifted to a different section of the graveyard now for Ilara's story. She's a different kind of haunting, a quiet literary ache that I find fascinating. Look around us. This entire place, it's a library of final words. Every stone is a story, or at least the end of one. We see names, dates, and little dash in between that stands for an entire life. We see epitaphs carved with purpose. Beloved, at rest. Gone home. So long, see you later. These stones are all trying to say something. They are a final statement, which is what makes the blank one so unsettling. In most graveyards, if you look long enough, you'll find one. A stone that has been worn so smooth by time and rain that it has nothing left to say. Its face is as blank as an unwritten page. Or perhaps it was always meant to be that way. The story I'm going to share now is about a stone just like that. The local legends call it the Silent Stone. Her name, they say, was Ilara. Ilara was not silent in life. Oh no. Her mind was a thunderstorm of words. She saw the world in poems. She felt things so deeply that they spilled over, and she would write. She wrote letters to friends she was too shy to speak to. She wrote poems about the color of the sky and the feeling of frost on her window. She wrote observations in a little journal, things she thought were too small or too strange to say out loud. She was, you see, painfully shy. Her great tragedy wasn't a dramatic death, it was a quiet life. She lived with all these beautiful words caged inside her, and somehow she never found the key. The legend says that when she died, her only request was that she be buried with her small rosewood box, the one where she kept all her writings, all her unpublished, unread, unspoken words interred with her. And her family, respecting her privacy even in death, gave her a marker with no name, just as she had lived, silently. But words are powerful. My friend Rose always says words mean things, and they don't like being buried. They don't like being silent. Ilara doesn't haunt this place the way you might think. She's not a cold spot. She's not a wisp of fog. Ilara is a sensation. She is the sudden, inexplicable lump in your throat as you walk past. She is the word that is right right on the tip of your tongue, but you just can't find it. She's the ghost of an idea. The groundskeepers, the ones who have worked here for years, they know her well. They say that if you stand near her blank stone, you will feel the sudden, overwhelming urge to speak. Visitors have been found standing right there, whispering secrets they've never told another living soul. They confess old regrets. They speak apologies to people long gone. They hum tunes they didn't even know they remembered. They unburden themselves to the blank stone. And when they do, they say they feel lighter, as if the words were greatly, gently lifted from them. Ilara, you see, is the keeper of lost words. She collects the ones we can no longer hold. There's a story about a young musician just a few years ago. He was here, right here, in this very graveyard, trying to break a terrible writer's block. He sat on a bench, not far from Ilara's stone. His notebook empty, his guitar silent. He sat for an hour, frustrated, was about to leave. He closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and the air around him became perfectly, absolutely still. He said he felt it, that tip of the tongue feeling, so strong that it was almost a pressure. His hand, almost of its own accord, grabbed his pen, and he didn't think. He just wrote. The words flowed out of him, not his words, not his style. A beautiful, haunting, heartbreaking poem about a caged bird who finally finds the voice to sing. He filled the page, and his hand stopped. He was breathing hard, staring at the words. "Where?" he whispered. "Where did that come from?" And in the silence of the graveyard, he heard a sound. It wasn't a voice. It was a sigh, a faint, dry, papery sigh, like a single page being turned in an old book. A sigh of thanks, of release. He looked up at the blank stone. The last ray of the setting sun was hitting it at a perfect, impossible angle. And for just a moment, just for the space of a single heartbeat, the stone wasn't blank. He saw the name, etched in elegant, flowing script. Ilara. So, if you find yourself here, and you feel that catch in your throat, if a memory or a secret comes bubbling to the surface, go ahead, whisper it. The air here is a very good listener. Ilara is a good listener. She'll take the words you don't need anymore. And who knows, friend, she might just leave you with the ones you've been looking for. We've moved now to an older section of the graveyard for the final story of our Halloween trio treat. A graveyard at night is a different world. It's not a place of the dead, it's a place of memory. And some memories, like some people, are stubborn. They don't like to be forgotten. We walk through the gates, we see the stones, we see the names. We think of the people who laid them here, the grief, the love, the final goodbye. But who thinks of the keeper? Who thinks of the person who first cut the paths we walk? The one who dug the earth, who set the stones, who locked the gate at the end of the day? Every graveyard has a first resident, a first visitor, and a first caretaker. In this place, his name was Melvin. Melvin was the caretaker here in the late 1800s. He was a man made of damp wool, pipe tobacco, and patience. He didn't just tend the grounds, he tended the propriety of the place. He believed in quiet respect. He believed that the people here were not gone, they were just resting. And he was their guardian. He had no family of his own, so this was his flock, and he had one ritual. Every year, on All Hallows' Eve, just as the sun was bleeding out of the sky, he would light his iron lantern, and he would walk the paths. He would walk to the grave of the person who'd been buried most recently, the newest member of his quiet community, and on their stone he would leave a single lit beeswax candle. "No soul," he'd mutter to the evening air, "no soul should feel forgotten on their first winter in the dark. 'Tis a light for the new neighbor." Melvin did this for 40 years, until the night he passed, sitting in his small cottage by the gate, his lantern still burning on the table. The ritual, of course, died with Melvin. New caretakers came, electric lights were installed, the lock on the gate changed. But Melvin is a stubborn memory. He is not a ghost of tragedy. He is not bound here by anger or by a broken heart. He is bound by duty. He's a ghost of sheer, undomesticated habit. He still makes his rounds. The new caretakers will tell you, you never see him. Melvin isn't a presence you see. He is a feeling. He's the sudden, inexplicable scent of sweet pipe tobacco and old wool in a summer wind. He's the sound of heavy, creaking iron gate, when the gate is 100 yards away and hasn't creaked in 50 years. He's a feeling of being quietly observed, not judged, not threatened, just watched. As if a groundskeeper is making sure you're wiping your feet, making sure you're not walking on the grass. On Halloween night, just a few years back, a young historian was here late. She had special permission to be here, documenting the erosion on the oldest stones with a camera and a flashlight. It was cold, the air was sharp, and she was focused only on her work. As she was packing up, she saw something out of the corner of her eye in the oldest section of the cemetery, a faint, flickering light. It was warm like a candle. She startled. She called out, "Hello? Someone there?" The light just moved. It bobbed gently as if held by a walking hand. It moved slowly, steadily down the path between the tombstones. She was more curious than afraid. She followed, keeping her distance. "Hello? Hello?" The light was always just ahead of her. It would turn a corner around a large monument, and by the time she got there, it was already 2 rows down, moving steadily, never waving. It led her all the way from the oldest section through the dark toward the main gate. And then, as it reached the newest section of the cemetery, it just went out. And she was standing there in total darkness, her heart hammering, her breath pluming in the cold. She felt ridiculous. It was a trick of the light, an illusion, another person. She fumbled for a flashlight and clicked it on, pointing the beam at where the light vanished. There was no one there. But on the newest grave in the cemetery, a plot of fresh earth, the marker not even set yet, sat a single, small, hand-dipped beeswax candle. A drip of warm wax cooling on its side, while a thin tendril of smoke drifted from its extinguished wick. Then a small, brave flame leapt to life and flickered in the wind that wasn't blowing.